The real magic is starting to happen. I'm going to talk about exactly how I set up my macros, my cardio, and what those first steps were before I got to see this. Yeah, that's right. I hit a new low on the scale, but I didn't just jump right into a fat loss phase. And this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong, is that they don't actually understand how to set up their daily routine, their nutrition, their cardio, and they kind of go all in. And usually when people go all in, they just follow some predetermined plan that somebody else used, a meal plan, cookie cutter, something that really doesn't apply specifically to them. So I'm going to talk to you about how did I determine where my calories were going to be. So first thing that I did, and I want to give you guys an update. This is a video of me right now. This was me just recently in the gym earlier today. You saw my new low. I'm down to 207.9. We started around 211.5, right? And the first thing I did was I got a DEXA scan, right? Why? I wanted to see over the course of this fat loss phase, if I'm able to build muscle, lose body fat, and what that's going to look like as I change. And I'm going to get well below 10% body fat. My DEXA scan said I was 13.8% body fat, I believe, which is fine. I think by the end of this, I'm going to be in the 7 to 6% range, maybe lower. We'll see. But the goal for me is to just get as shredded as possible. And don't worry, I'm going to get something out of it. I'm either going to do a photo shoot, maybe I'll do a competition, I'll do some stuff. And it's not to sustain or maintain that level of conditioning, but it's something that I like to do. I just like to push myself every couple of years. And so I want to show you guys, it doesn't matter if you have 100 pounds to lose or 10 pounds to lose. These rules are going to be able to apply to you. Okay, so let's talk about how I got started. What's the first thing that I did? First thing that I did was I just started plugging my information into an app. I just wanted to see what I was kind of eating. Now, what does that require? That requires you actually get out of your comfort zone, get a food scale, get an app, and just start paying attention. I didn't put any pressure on myself. I didn't track everything for the first couple days. But what I typically do, and I think most of us do this, we kind of eat the same things over and over. So if you eat the same thing over and over, I typically make myself one of 2 or 3 breakfasts. Once you track it once, the next time you go to eat that, you just put in breakfast and it says auto-populate and it gives you some options for most recent foods eaten. Boom, done. It literally takes 0 time. So once you've started to establish some consistency with what you're getting, you start to see where your calories lie. Now, I found that I was probably a little low on the protein, between 180 and 200 grams of protein most days, some days as low as 150. Where I was excelling was my carbohydrates, usually around 350 carbs or more. Fats were usually 70 to 90 grams or more. So I was hovering anywhere in that 3,000 calorie range at a body fat percentage that was near 10%. I think, some days I was probably 11, 12. The day that I got the DEXA, it said I was 13. So yeah, I'm just hovering in a really good place where I had visible abs, felt good in the gym. And to be honest, on the days where I felt a little run down, I would eat a little bit more. And on the days where I felt a little bit fluffy, I'd probably eat a little bit less. During that time, I also did something else, cardio. I know cardio can get a bad rap. I'm also lifting weights. So when it comes to successful fat loss, I think you need multiple tiered approach, okay? Just restricting calories is a very short-term success goal. And if you have no idea how to set up your calories, how to set up your macros, I've got a free calculator. Been on my website for years, doesn't cost anything, and you can just go plug in information your age and just get an idea where they should be. But what I typically suggest, and when I have a consult with a new client, is if they don't know where their calories are, the first thing I do is say, hey, let's take a couple days and reconvene on another phone call. I just want you to track it. And I don't care if you're going to McDonald's 3 times a day. I don't care if you're drinking 12 beers a day. Just track anything that has calories that's going in your body. Why? This gives us a baseline. So what did I do with my baseline? I said, okay, I'm hitting somewhere in the 3,000, 3,500 calorie range most days. So what am I going to do to start? Well, I kept my cardio the same. I'm still just doing 30 minutes of incline walking 5 days a week. But what I did was I cleaned the diet up, okay? Some of those days where my calories were getting a bit higher, I was eating with the kids, having pizza, maybe having a dessert. So all I did was I simply cleaned up my approach and I bumped up my protein. So now I'm getting between 220 grams of protein today. I brought my carbs down to 250 grams per day, and I brought my fats down to 70 grams per day for a number in the ballpark of 2,500 calories. Immediately, I could feel it. Now, part of that is because I'm already so lean, and the leaner you are, the more you'll notice these changes. When you start a fat loss phase with 30, 40, 50 pounds of body fat to lose, you're probably gonna have to notice it. But once you get to that 12% body fat, you'll notice dips in energy, increases in hunger. But for me, this was a good sign. I knew things were happening. And it actually, when you know things are happening, it actually encourages you. Late in the evening when decision-making can get tough, but you think, man, I'm going to weigh myself tomorrow morning. Boom, adherence. I also want to mention we do have a holiday group called Slay the Holidays. It's a 60-day group that we're doing on Facebook as a community. We're just providing meal plans, training plans, and a support community. If you're interested, you go to prophysique.com/events. But the goal here for me is to give you guys a framework of why people are successful with fat loss. So now that I've established this as my new norm, how long am I going to stick with these calories? Well, I'm tracking my weight every day. And a lot of people that, get coached by me find this odd. They think that they don't want to check the scale every day. I find more data takes the stress off the data. So if I'm eating my, say, 2,500 calories and I'm doing my 30 minutes of cardio and I'm doing my training sessions and I'm checking my weight every single day, I should notice some trends. A couple trends I noticed. I went from 211 to 207.9 in a matter of a week or so. So I noticed that trend and I could feel it. There were times where I was a little bit hungry, times where I had a little bit less energy, and I was actually starting to look forward to my meals, which actually got me meal prepping, right? So I got to the point where I was prepping meals ahead of schedule because I'm anticipating that hunger, which really helps my success. Because instead of waiting till I'm hungry and then the kids being, kind of grabbing my attention, or maybe I'm at a bodybuilding show with the client and I'm just like, let's just go out to eat. I've already got that food waiting. That is probably the number one biggest hurdle for most people that are trying to lose body fat. And so what it did was it kind of sped up the progress for me to the point where, man, I'm already seeing changes. I'm already noticing a little bit of visual difference, okay? Body fat is a funny thing. It's going to come off in weird patterns. As much as I would love for it to come off my love handles and my lower abdomen, I've done this enough times to know this is the last thing to come off of me. This is 6% body fat for me. This is 5% body fat for me. I'll get really lean before the love handles come off. And yeah, that's my cross to bear. It can be a little bit annoying, but if you're out there and you're thinking like, man, I just want to get to this point, understand that our body doesn't cooperate with what we want. And usually what we want is in direct conflict with what's actually going to happen. We covet the thing that we don't have, right? For me, I kind of have abs all the time. I don't care about abs. I hate this part, right? So that's what I start to get down to and start to wonder about when that's going to happen. But now I know. So understanding that once I've set these calories up, what I'm going to do is basically track everything. And after a week, if I notice that I'm stalled, I'm going to make an adjustment. So if I'm at 2,500 calories and I'm at 30 minutes of cardio 5 days a week and I'm tracking my daily steps, how am I going to make an adjustment? The first thing I'll do is I'll drop maybe 150 to 200 calories, okay? So I'll pull a little bit from my carbs, a little bit from my fats, and I'll bump up my cardio to make up another maybe 100 calories or so. So what's this going to do? Fat loss tends to happen in thresholds, okay? I know you heard the theory that, 500 calories is, times 7 days is 3,500 calories. That's how you lose a pound of fat. But our bodies are pretty dynamic. And what I have found is that you don't need to reduce your caloric deficit or create another 500 calorie deficit to get things moving. You need to just give it a little kick, a little 200, 300 calorie deficit, and it's going to spur things along. The other thing that you really got to pay attention to is multiple areas of measurement, okay? It's not just a contest with the scale, because the scale is going to go up. And when I start weighing myself daily, what's the one trend I notice? The day after I train lower body, quads, hamstrings, glutes, the scale goes up, sometimes more than a pound. Why is this? Well, sore muscles create inflammation. Inflammation holds more water in the body. This water carries weight to it. Did I gain body fat? No. Did I gain muscle? No. I'm just sore. But what happens is you notice these fluctuations over time, the ups and downs, but the overall trend is in the downward direction. So even these fluctuations can really just be ignored, okay? Because if you just weigh yourself once a day, and let's just say we're always weighing ourselves on a day where we don't get as much sleep, we had a really late meal, and we trained legs the day before, the scale could be up 2 pounds and we start to panic. If you don't have all that data, it really starts to be a struggle. And this is where the art of coaching and helping people get to their fat loss goals can be really valuable. So if you'd like to set up a consultation at no cost with me, I'll put a link below, prophysique.com/sign up. The goal there is just to set up a consult and make sure that you need coaching, you're a good fit. I love providing you guys the free tools to do this yourself. And in February, we're having a transformation challenge where we're giving away $25,000, providing all the meal plans, training plans, and some discounted options for coaching, because those 90-day challenge, which you're about to see when we start releasing the results, our last one just ended, There's something very powerful about picking a date. For me, right now, my next date is with a DEXA scan. And this might end up being a little bit something because I was not prepared for how motivated I was going to be knowing that I have a DEXA coming up. My training has been better. My nutrition has been better. Why? The next time I check that, I want to have more lean body mass, less body fat, and I want to actually have my age get lower. So I just turned 50 years old. My biological age, according to the DEXA, was 39. I want to get that down to 35. I don't know. I don't know what's possible. But I just think it's pretty neat to have lower body fat, more muscle in a short window to actually prove what I'm saying works. But I know it does. I've been doing this, guys. I've been lifting weights for, I don't even want to tell you, more than 30 years. It's crazy. And along the way, I've learned a few things about nutrition, went back to school, studied exercise science. I've been around some of the best coaches in the world, and I've become one of the best coaches in the world. And this is what I do. So I'm just going to use myself as the canvas to help you guys follow along. I'm trying to do a little bit more with the content, but it's tough when you're a busy coach. So if you guys have questions or comments about what you'd like to see through this process, I am going to go get some blood work done. I know a lot of people, the leaner I get, they're going to start to think that, oh, there's no way this can be done naturally. I get that accusation all the time. I'm going to show you I'm a lifetime natural athlete. No harm, no foul if you're not. In fact, I coach people that are not natural, but for myself personally, I just haven't done it. I haven't needed it. I still feel great, and I feel like I still make a little bit of progress. As slow as it might be, I love my physique now more than ever, and it's still continuing to get better, even if it's at a slower rate. So follow along. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's talk about this, and let's continue to push ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. Okay, talk to you tomorrow.